Okay, this is the Wrestler 1, Hela Terrell. Okay, I wanted to come on and do a storyline, especially for Miss Henrietta Lacks. Okay, if you don't know who Miss Henrietta Lacks is, Miss Henrietta Lacks is a young lady. She was a young lady. I'm talking like the present because she's here in the spirit, right? But she is a lady. She was a young lady who died back then in the 50s from cervical cancer, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to say anything wrong as far as Miss Lax. For you people who don't know, Miss Lax is an African American mother, woman, go-getter, worker that died back then in the 50s, and her cells were being used all over by Johns Hopkins Hospital. Follow me? Had taken her cells. It was a book written about Miss Lax back then. I don't know exactly when the book was written. That states what I'm saying. Let's just say. But I wanted to do a storyline reading to see if her family, what God want her family to do as far as getting reparations, getting what they deserve, getting an inheritance that was from their relative that they haven't received as of yet. Okay, let's just flow. Let me just look up Miss Lax for a minute so I can say a little bit more about her for you people who don't know her or haven't heard about her. I guarantee you that any race of you, whoever you are, you have a little bit of Miss Lax in your body from anything that was made, any product that was made that contained some of Miss Lax's cells. Get what I'm saying? Even though she died many years ago, the remnants of her still remain, still was growing and flourishing because her cells were stolen and taken without her permission and reproduced year after year after year after year, all the way up until this year, 2023. So let me just flow a little bit. Okay, Miss Lax. Miss Lax. Beautiful, beautiful young lady Miss Lax was. Like I said, she died back then, so she's not alive right now. Let me see when Miss Lax died. Miss Lax died October the 4th, 1951, and during that time it was racial times and racist times, where people felt they could do what they wanted to do to African American, to black people. Follow me. Okay, it says right here that in 1951, a young mother of 5 named Miss Henrietta Lacks visited Johns Hopkins Hospital complaining of vaginal bleeding. Miss Lacks was one of a diverse group of patients who unknowingly donated cells at Hopkins. Unknowingly. You heard what that word said, unknowingly. She didn't give her cells on her own. They were stolen. Follow me. Okay, let's just flow. Okay, a book was written about Miss Lax. So if you want to know more about it, you can read the book, right? I brought the book back, I don't know exactly what date it was. 2000 and something. I just don't know exactly what it was when I bought the book. But anyway, yeah, it's a book out. The Immortal Life of Miss Henrietta Lacks. That's the name of the book. So if you want to look the book up, you can, and purchase the book so you can find out more about her story. Okay? Yeah. Unknowingly donated cells. Unknowingly. Follow me. Okay? So let's just say she is a mother, a wife. She has siblings. She had parents. She's buried in Virginia right now. Miss Lax was an African American woman whose cancer cells are the source of Hela cells that's used all over in all kind of products and different things. Her cells was sold by Hopkins Hospital to different places because Hopkins Hospital took her cells unknowingly. She didn't know that they was taking her cells, and that was considered theft at that time. And at this time, anything that you take that don't belong to you is considered theft without the person's permission. But remember back then in the 50s, black people, it was like racist times then. So people that wasn't white, that was white people, thought they could just do anything they wanted to do because all that stuff come from slavery time, remember. Okay, here's the lady who wrote the book, Miss Rebecca Scoot. Scoot, I don't like to say her name wrong. Scoot or something like that. Skloot. Yeah, let's see. Okay, let me show. Here she is. It's been a long time since I read the book though back then. Okay. She wrote the book. I'm glad she wrote the book because I wouldn't have known about Miss Lax if she wouldn't have wrote the book. I wouldn't have known anything. So, okay, she sold the book 2010. It was a bestseller. Yeah. 2010. Yeah, The Immortal Life of Miss Henrietta Lax. You can go and get that book. Here's how the book look on the front. Here it is right here. Here's the book. Can you see it? Can you see it? Okay. All right, let's just see. I wanted to do a reading on Miss Lax. On Miss Lax family. Is the Miss Lax family going to eventually, Lord, get compensated like they should? Because they should be being compensated. Let's see. Hopkins sold her cells and her family sued a biotechnical company back in 2021. But actually, Hopkins should be sued. Hopkins should give every dime that they have to the family that's owed to Miss Lax's family. Who owes? Say who owns her cells is her family, because that's who they come from, her. Did the family get money? Her family have not received any compensation from the use of her cells by bio and pharmaceutical companies since they were harvested. Okay, let's just see. Let's see, universe. Is Miss Lax family going to get any money? Should they just go like a bulldog and go after Hopkins Hospital and not be chummy with them anymore and go full force to get what's owed to them as far as their loved one? This is not slavery time. This is 2023 now. This a whole nother time. Okay, let's just see. Universe, let me pause for a minute so I can see where I put the cards at. Okay, let's see. We're going to finish up this one for Miss Lax family, anything as far as Miss Lax. I wanted to know Universe, is Mr. Lack's family going to get any kind of compensation? Follow me? Or herself that everybody is contributing from? Okay, we have deck 7. These are abuse cards. And deck 9, healing of the soul. Follow me? Okay. God wanted her to step into her queenship. Follow me? This bottom card says she had a chance at love. Follow me? To love herself, step into her queenship. Okay, we have right here the bottom card. Voting on, picking on. Racist card. Anything as far as that. Somebody picking people because of. Follow me? This other side says full range. You already know what it is. Somebody want her to be submissive. Want her to be docile. Follow me? Okay, we have right here romance. Somebody want romance. Someone want cabinet life. Romance. Haven't had romance in a long time. Maybe she didn't, or somebody. She is holding on to a corrupt pain, and that maybe she might have been hurting. Anything like that. If not that, something she was dealing with in her personal life. Or her family. Somebody like that. Somebody need to let go of destruction. Let's just flow and see what this is about. Let's just flow for Miss Lax. Because this is for Miss Lax family, universe. Okay, we got the court. It was unjust. Some kind of way, maybe the family went to court and it was unjust. Or it was unjust what was done to Miss Lax, stealing her cells, selling them around to different places. And the family was going to go to court about it, or is going to go to court, anything like that. Let's just flow. John Hopkins usually have some kind of lecture like for Miss Lax yearly, following, and welcome people to come and look at it on Zoom, or I guess go in person. Okay, the first card is it was wake up time, or it is for the family. Time to continue your life. Or continue with the struggle and getting the money that's owed to you or your loved one. Because it was unjust what was done to your loved one, and it was unjust what was done to you. Take it to court. Okay, it says right here, we got the same mother. What happened to you? So this could go with one of the siblings in Miss Lack's family that's going through whatever they're going through, some kind of way. That's cheating him or herself out of a good life. It's some kind of disagreement. One of the siblings, somebody is not agreeing, or it could have been her own siblings, or it could be one of her grandchildren's siblings, her children's siblings, or her own sibling. Somebody didn't agree with the other sibling, the lifestyle, following, anything like that. Okay, it says right here that don't let what you seek ruin your life. One of the siblings, one of the grandchildren, or this was Miss Lax back then. She couldn't find it. I saw the apology card, and they definitely need to apologize to Miss Lax and her family. Okay, it says right here that somebody insinuated something with sharp words toward Miss Lax back then, or to her family. Follow me? Somebody wanted her to come on with it back then, or now with the family, and get to the melting pot. Come on and make some things happen. Okay, it says right here, plaything. Either somebody back then was using Miss Lax for a plaything, or somebody in one of her children's or grandchildren's life, or is taking them as a plaything, not taking them serious about getting this money, getting an inheritance, anything like that. Okay, but God say go forward, so you can get on your path. Okay, the next one is somebody want luxurious and thinking about the idea, or talking to the family maybe about luxurious. Chew on it for me. Think about it. Let's get to the melting pot. Let's make something happen. Or maybe somebody said something to Miss Lax back then. I don't know, but I don't think they did. Okay, I think this is with her family. Some kind of what was a racial abuse with Miss Lax back then, and it is with her family still today. too much pressure was put on Miss Lax back then as far as racial abuse or with her family. Okay, Miss Lax had a healing work path. We already know that because her cells is being used all over this world. Follow me? All over the place. If not the world, all over the country. Wherever's at, right? She needed to leave destruction behind. The destruction would be those people she is connected with. And that would be the hospital. Follow me? Because somebody wanted full-range submission over Miss Lax, right? Or this would be one of Miss Lax's relatives need to leave destruction behind. Because they have a healing path work. I can take it either way. You got a Virgo. Maybe she was, or somebody she know was Sage. Somebody in her family, or somebody, a doctor, or somebody was connected to her back then, or one of her family members. Because it says right here, the Virgo was inventing for a move to be made, and the Sage made the move wisely. It could be like it was a doctor that wanted something done, and the nurse made the move wisely. Get what I'm saying? Anything like that. Or in today's timing, somebody was venting for a move to be made by the family, agreement, or anything like that, and they made the move wisely. Or the hospital was selling her cells off, was venting as far as the move to be made to make some money over here. Because it says, let's get to the melting pot. Chew on it. Think about this thing. We can live luxurious. Anything like that. Get what I'm saying? Okay, it says right here, when was you going to tell me? I never would have known this about you. So, Miss Lax's family found whatever they found out. When was you going to tell me? When was Hopkins going to tell the family that they stole their relatives' cells? When was they going to tell? They wouldn't have known this about their relative, that her cells were stolen. Okay? We have a witness that was there who knows about this thing. That's a person that's full of faith, integrity, respectable, who knows the truth. So it says right here that we got doors with glass in it. And doors with glass in it would be the hospital. Follow me? Doors with glass in it. And then we got the sinful place. So the sinful place is courthouses, bars, clubs, churches, hospitals, treatment centers. So we're dealing with a place with glass in it, and that would be the hospital for this storyline. Follow me? Okay, it was time shared, and Miss Lax was roped off in a certain area, wherever she was at, or it was time shared some kind of way with the family, and then the family was roped off. Anything like that. Okay, here we got destruction 2 times, back to back. Here's another destruction. Follow me? So we have right here, Miss Lax was holding on to a corrupt pain because she was hurting back then. Or the family holding on to a corrupt pain. Follow me? And the pain is they not being compensated for their relatives' cells. That's a corrupt pain. They need to leave destruction behind. And destruction would be as far as putting up with this and not really doing as much as possible. Or the people who are responsible need to leave destruction behind. Because it was intense madness. Because of this situation. Because the family wanted the hospital and all those people involved, those pharmaceutical companies, to bring in the emotional love that the family needed and compensate the family and do it in full force. But they wanted to go on and grow their business. They wanted to clarify things with these pharmaceutical companies in the hospital. Follow me? But it says right here, choosing you first is always the best choice. So the family needed to choose themselves first. It was always the best choice. or the pharmaceutical companies and the hospital chose themselves first. And they felt like it was the best choice. They noisy, I meant to say that. Okay, it says right here, they need not trust in man's word, but trust only in God's word. Because men lie. So some kind of way somebody wanted them to clarify something, or they wanted something clarified, or somebody wanted them to clarify something. Or back then, some kind of way, Miss Lax wanted them to clarify something. But God wanted her not to believe in man's word, but in God's word. Okay, it says right here that bulletproof. Some kind of way, somebody dealing with a gun. Some kind of way back then in her life. In Miss Lax's life, somebody was dealing with a gun or got wounded, got murdered, got a gun drawn on them, or somebody in her family's life got a gun pulled on them, got wounded or got murdered, anything like that? Anything like that? Okay, black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. I showed you Miss Lax to show you black is beautiful. So this is a racist card. So back then, it was racist times, 1951. And here it is, black is beautiful. And she was beautiful. And she knew black is beautiful. But this is a racist card. Maybe she loved music. And right now, today, as today's stand, black is still beautiful. For her family. Okay, it says right here, dealing with somebody 42 and up. So she is dealing with somebody back then 42 and up. Maybe the doctor was at least 42 and up, the nurse. Or maybe somebody in her family right now 42 and up. Or maybe somebody who part of these pharmaceutical companies are 42 and up. I love him or her, but it just will not be romance. So some kind of way she's dealing with maybe her husband back then or something. She loved her husband, but it couldn't be no romance. Or it's just somebody in her family member that's dealing with somebody they know. But we got the racist card right there. Maybe we might have had a doctor flirting back then. I don't really know. I don't know. Okay? Let's just flow. See, we got cabinet life coming right behind the romance. Get what the card's saying. We got somebody who wanted romance. Because we got a racist card. So back then somebody could have pulled a gun on Miss Lax. We talking about racist times now, so they're capable of anything. Somebody could have drawn a gun on Miss Lax back then. Follow me? Okay, it says right here that maybe she have a son. That's a sign of Aquarius. Maybe she is Aquarius. Maybe her son Aquarius. She is proud of whoever her son is. Or maybe somebody in her family is an Aquarius. Got a son that's Aquarius. Or maybe this part is for somebody in her family. Or could it just been back there because we got the racist card. So I feel it came from back then. Okay, people was being picked just because it was racist time. So black people over here, white people over there, what was going on? Follow me? And certain kind of people. Okay. She felt restricted back then. She couldn't get out. She couldn't do anything. She felt restricted. Couldn't get out. But somebody owed her an apology. And a family apology. Big time. The hospital, Hopkins Hospital, and all of those pharmaceutical companies. And then start shelling out that cash. That's what you need to do. Start shelling it out. Okay, we have right here, they looked at Miss Lax as weak-backed. Okay. Or they looked at her family as weak-backed. Right? They could just run all over top of the family, run all over top of her back then because it was a racist times then. But now they still feel they can run all over the family also. And it's a whole nother day and age. But the family need to change and chance it all. Follow me? Or back then they changed and chanced it all and did what they did. Follow me? So we could have had a doctor back then flirting with Miss Lax. Follow me? Because we got racist times back then. They think they could do anything they want to do to you. Okay? God wanted her to step into her queenship back then. She had a chance at love, and that would be loving herself. Or over here, somebody in her family got to step into his or her queenship because the person got a chance at love, whoever. She wanted to checkmate for she wanted to checkmate for a peace treaty, or somebody wanted it from her, or somebody in her family right now dealing with some kind of relationship or whatever's going on, or whatever this might be. Or a checkmate would be taking this to court and getting compensation, getting what's owed to the family, what's owed for Miss Lax cells. So somebody want peace for a checkmate. Follow me? Well, back then she wanted peace for a checkmate because she was dealing with racial abuse back then with this situation. Okay? She was beautiful, Miss Lax. Somebody thought she was beautiful. Okay. Okay, let's follow. Okay. It was hard for somebody to show her love back then. It was hard for these doctors and pharmaceutical people, whoever, to show her love, to show her good. And it's still hard right now today for these pharmaceutical companies in the hospital to show Miss Lax good or her family good. Follow me? So that means a person looking down at you, just like slavery time, looking down at you like you nobody. That's what it is. So it says right here, where's your princess? Because if this for the family right here, where's your princess? And Miss Lax would be the princess here. Where's that princess? She all over. Every which way. In all these pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, she everywhere. Where's your princess family? Here she is, Miss Lax. Because they want to win. Because wherever that princess is, they supposed to win. Get what I'm saying with this card? Okay? It says right here, power stays with the wife, not with the ex. Who's jerking you around? So some kind of way, if somebody in her family dealing with something right now in their love life, or whoever this is, maybe some kind of way, somebody being jerked around by somebody else, that's an ex or something. But if it's what Miss Lax over here, or it could have been Miss Lax in her personal life, I don't know. But if it's going back here as far as the doctors and all of that type of stuff, some kind of way she is being jerked around. Follow me? There's a caterpillar in this thing. And you know caterpillars are limited. Follow me? They limited. You got to get to that butterfly in order to grow. There it is right here. Here's a caterpillar. She's a caterpillar back here in this situation. But she needs to bend forward. And right now with her family, God's saying you are a caterpillar, but you got to bend forward on things. Follow me? Or somebody in the family going through some kind of relationship or whatever, or she did some kind of way in her life with her husband, or a family member and their husband, right? Need to fix whatever going on there. Life journey is calling for her to fight it, being salary driven. Maybe she was a hard worker. Follow me? Or making money, or this was the hospital or the pharmaceutical company people. Life journey is calling for them to stop being salary driven, trying to get money. Okay, and then we have, well, okay, we dealing with, it says no more time for lack. Oh my goodness, Miss Lack coming out in her storyline. Look at that. It don't say the S, but look, you can't see it good. No more time for lack. Get what it's saying. Miss Lack coming out in her own storyline. Lack. No more time for lack. For losing, right? So it's no more time for losing for her back here as far as dealing with the doctor's office. No more time for her family to be lacking on things, or her in a relationship with her husband back then, or her family member, any family member that's going through something in their life with their relationships or whatever. It's no more time for lack, God's saying, however you slice it. But we talking about Miss Lacks. So, no more time for lacks. Deep. I think that's beautiful. Then the next card is, if you need help, reach out. This for the family. If you need help, reach out to get the help you need to be able to get this money for Miss Lacks. Because it's not over. Because God's saying, no more time for lack. Lack means you don't have enough. You know what that means, right? God's telling you, no more time for that. Reach out if you need help to get this money that's owed to Miss Lacks. To owe to her grandchildren, her children, who all deserve it. These people can't eat off of Miss Lacks. You can't allow them to just eat and live good off of Miss Lacks. And you live like peasants or something. It don't work like that. No. You get to eat good, live good from your relative, because that's what your relative would want for you. I just want to go home again. That's sad. This Miss Lacks. Whew, goodness gracious, this felt a certain kind of way. I feel you. This Miss Lacks. This Miss Lacks. This not none of these people. It's not none of these people. The doctors, the family members. This is Miss Lacks right here. Look at this card. I just want to go home again. At one point, she wanted to get out of there. She wanted to go home again. She wanted out of there. She wanted to go home. She wanted to go home. Oh my goodness, Miss Lacks. She wanted to go home. It's none of these people. It's Miss Lacks. She wanted to go home. If you need help, reach out. During that time, it wasn't nobody for her to reach out to. Because it was racist times during that time. She just wanted to be able to get out of there. In one piece, get out of there. She wanted out after a certain time. She just wanted to go home. Grossed out. I wonder if somebody pulled a gun on Miss Lacks back then. I wonder. If this don't go back then with Miss you hear that beeping, that's my wash machine. If this don't go with Miss Lacks back then, just go with a family member some kind of way. Where somebody draw the gun, did some wounding of somebody, or killed someone some kind of way by a gun though. If this don't go with back then with her, anybody she know back then or her back then, this goes with somebody in the present. Family member, friend, or somebody that the family knows. Okay, let's see. I need another one for Miss Lacks Universe. Let me see how much. Okay, I got some more time on here. Okay, let's see. Let me just pause you because I got to get some more cards. Let's see. Universe, give me something else for Miss Lacks. You saying for her family to go full force like a bulldog, like a pit bull. Don't stop. It was unjust. A gun could have been pulled on Miss Lacks back then during that time period. Remember, this was racist times. That card, I want to see one card. That's Miss Lacks' card. I want to go home. I want to go home again. Get what the card's saying. I want to go home again. A gun could have been pulled on Miss Lacks back then. You wouldn't know it. Because slavery time and back then times, people was made to do things from all kind of threats, remember? So let me just listen. I hear 12 of these. Healing of the soul and 9. Let me pause. 12. Okay, let's see. We have another set for Miss Lacks family concerning Miss Lacks or just Miss Lacks in general. However it's coming out. We got deck 9 of the abuse cards when you abuse someone or someone abuse you. And deck 12 of the healing of the soul. Somebody deeply wound you to your soul or you wound someone else. Okay, we have where Miss Lacks lived. Okay, so you must go on with your life as you should. This would be for the family. You should go on with your life as you should. Okay, it says right here that somebody created a shockwave, a mastermind back then in the life of Miss Henrietta Lacks. Somebody created a shockwave, something she didn't see coming. Okay, it says right here that she felt the moisture and all it took from her back then with the shock wave. Okay, she was tormented because things was flimsy, maybe equipment or things like that. Or the family seeing that somebody created a shock wave and they feel the moisture of what this took from them to hear about their relative. They must go on with their life, and it's been torment for them. And the story was flimsy, what they heard, anything like that. Okay, we have right here that somebody going to reside in front of a judge, the family, or the pharmaceutical companies, or the doctors, or somebody, and they're going to get all tensed up. Follow me? Okay, we have change of address card. It simply means you don't know exactly where you're going to be. So some kind of way, maybe back then, Miss Lax didn't know for sure which hospital to go to. Maybe she wanted to transfer to another hospital, so she wasn't sure what hospital she was going to go to. Maybe she wanted to transfer, but she wasn't sure, or what hospital would take her or something like that. Or maybe she is going to move at that time to another house and she wasn't sure. Or this could be today's time with her family, if any of them move in some kind of way, or if they was dealing with court some kind of way, not knowing for sure where the court hearing was going to be held, anything like that. Okay, or it could go with the hospitals and pharmaceutical companies moving her cells about from place to place. Okay, if you are not happy with things, you had to do things right. Do you have burdens? You got to do things right for the family. Okay, because somebody was fence watching while Miss Lax got X'd out. So this X'd out card, fence watching card, this is a death card. It's the put out card. It's the get rid of card. Follow me. So somebody was fence watching. That would be the nurse. Follow me. Was fence watching. Or if there's a trial going on for the family or anything like that, a trial or anything, discussion, somebody's watching while the family got X'd out, pushed to the side like they nobody. Follow me, like their thoughts don't count. Or this go back with Miss Lax, where somebody's watching while she got X'd out. Get what it's saying? Because some kind of way, whatever was going on with the doctor, whatever he did, he created her death. Follow me? By what all he was doing. And it was some kind of nurse watching. If not a nurse, another doctor. Follow me? Follow me? So it says right here, somebody is becoming unboxed, unhinged, upset, while stacking them up charges, accusations, anything like that. Back then, somebody was upset, maybe because charges was piling up for the medical bills, or it could simply mean right now the family or the pharmaceutical company's going to be getting unboxed because they're going to be upset because they're going to be having to go to court again. Accusations against them, charges, and things like that. Okay. Okay, it says, be considerate of your partner. I am not selfish because I want a whole man. So we have like this card right here of your partner. So this card goes with when somebody have this is a relationship. So this could be Miss Lax and her husband, or one of the relatives that's living today and their husband, and they want a whole man. That simply mean a person that's not gay or a person that is not cheating. So if I put it in Miss Lax's relationship over here with this situation, be considerate of your partner. That means for the doctors, nurses, or whoever was attending to Miss Lax back then. The person wasn't considerate of the person's partner, of Miss Lax in general, and the person just did what the person wanted to do. I am not selfish because I want a whole man. So I feel like it was a doctor and a nurse, but the doctor didn't feel a nurse was competent because the nurse wasn't a man. So whoever this doctor is, he felt that men knew more. Follow me? So whoever the nurse was, he just wasn't giving her any kind of charge where she could take charge some kind of way. He didn't think she was suitable because she wasn't a man. Okay, it says right here, will you change? She wanted somebody to change back then, so she could have had her husband. She might want her husband to change because her husband wasn't perfect. Get what I'm saying? Okay, never again will the doctors, her husband, her family, or nobody in the world get the gift of Miss Lax physically, but they got the gift of Miss Lax through her cells. Follow me? Because she was a gift to many. Okay, we have right here, she was being deceived by somebody of service. So she is being deceived by somebody of service, and that would be a doctor. For her. And right now, the family is being deceived as far as somebody of service, and that would be the doctor or whoever, doctors or whoever they're talking to. But they being deceived, and she definitely was deceived back then because that was 51. So you got, they don't even feel they really owe you an explanation. Okay, looking down on you. Okay, it says she is a conscious thinker. Spelling it will only help her back then to talk and say what she had to say, or this is for her family right now. Do some talking. Okay. Go after them like a bulldog. Don't just quit. Okay. She is holding on to love. He beat me so much, so she might have had a problem with her husband. I have no idea. Or this could be a doctor, because it could be where she is holding on to, it don't have to be love, but holding on to, like in that hospital, the doctor she had or whatever, anything like that. But he beat me so much. Follow me? He could have beat her as far as words, how he was talking negative. Or it could have been physical. I don't know. I wasn't there. Whoever it was. She is a conscious thinker, and spelling it will only help her if this doctor did anything threatening to her. Follow me? Because we got to deal with the doctors with Miss Lax. Unless this was her husband some kind of way, or if there's somebody in her family going through this in a relationship right now, however it's going. But my focus is money being given to Miss Lax's family, but everything else comes out in the storylines. Because they deserve it. Anything belong to her, they deserve. Okay, God showed me the way. Look on the floor for it. Some kind of way back then, she was praying to God to show her the way. Something on the floor. Something was on the floor that she was looking for, or somebody else was looking for. A man, whoever it is, a doctor, or her spouse at the time, or somebody in the present right now looking for something, but is on the floor. Nobody is perfect. The ex is not for you. So some kind of way, maybe she is dealing with somebody. Not dealing with somebody. Her husband, some kind of way her husband might have been dealing with somebody. Some kind of way. But the ex wasn't for him because she was his wife. If not that, maybe this hospital, the ex is not for her. She needed to leave this doctor behind and go to another hospital or anything like that. Maybe the doctor, the hospital feel like nobody's perfect. They make mistakes. Or if it's her husband in a situation with another lady or whatever, he feel nobody's perfect. Anything like that. Temporarily, somebody abused their power with her, and that would be the doctor or her husband, however it's going. Or right now, in her family's life, somebody is saying the hospitals, the pharmaceutical companies, or whoever saying nobody is perfect. but they abused their power with the family. Follow me? Okay? She see it now. Back then she saw what she saw. That was some backyard ways of thinking, because at that time it was backyard ways of thinking. It was 1951. So we had racist times and people not coming up to today's timing. So for Miss Lack back there, it would be racist. And she saw it. Somebody was racist to her and was abused their power. In the present, her family is going to be going through, if they haven't already, somebody who had racist ways, who abused their power, and they see it now. Don't want to come up to today's time. They want to keep keeping it back there. Okay? We had somebody who was animalistic, controlling, dominating back then to Miss Lax. So it would be the doctor, her husband, or whoever this is. But since it's saying racist, I really feel it's dealing with the hospital. No more bowing down to you. She didn't want to bow down no more. Listen to, bow down, or whatever. So I will put that with back then with racist times. If it's somebody in her family right now, they don't want to put up with nothing right now off of any racist people this day and age, 2023. They not bowing down no more. They want answers. They want money. Okay, let's flow. Okay, covering up will not work. Back then they covered it all up, because I didn't hear about this situation until 2010. If this happened 1951, a majority of us just finding out 2010, that was a well-kept secret. Covering up won't work. The covers is off right now, because they was no cleaner than Miss Lax. These doctors, nurses, or white people in general, follow me? And right now, right, nobody is no cleaner than another. And covering up won't work. For the family is not putting up with it. It was God telling them don't put up with it. They noisy, I'm going to say. Tension brewed back then with Miss Lax. She plunged into tension with these doctors and nurses back then, at that time. Or this is for the family. They plunged into some kind of tension. Because it's not over. It ain't over till it's over. Okay, it says right here, money problems. No more money problems. Back then, the hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and all who had a hand in Miss Lax's pocket, they looked at, they won't have no more money problems. Passing her cells around. But now it's time for the family not to have no more money problems. It's time for them to have no more money problems. Because back then they might have been blaming it on money problems. As far as they ain't had the right equipment or anything like that. Yes, you're getting a reading from me, the Brass Love One. Follow me? Okay? It don't have to be these days, Wednesday or Thursday. It just means it just stands for a day. Some kind of way, whatever day. Back then with Miss Lax, these doctors worked on it hard. So they might have been working on her hard, doing what they was doing, what all they was doing to her, or they might have been doing what they was doing to take her cells and steal her cells, or they was working on her prayer, doing whatever they was doing that can contribute to her dying or whatever happened there, or just taking her cells. Some kind of way they worked on something hard. A day, whatever day it was, it don't have to be this day. Or the family is going to be working on something, right? Hard. Get what I'm saying? Okay? She needed not to go in head first and be the chairperson of her own life back then at that hospital. But she wasn't the chairperson of her own life. Back then she went in head first. But right now, God telling the family, be the chairperson of your own life. Don't let the hospital control you. Don't let the pharmaceutical company control you. Don't let the judge control you. Get what it's saying? You control this thing. Don't go in here first, but be your own chairperson. Miss Lax couldn't be hers. You be your own. Because it's not 1951 right now. Okay, let's just flow. Okay, Miss Lax at that time was coping with a job, some kind of job she had, or right now a family member is coping with some kind of job. Okay, it says right here, life is about experience, not about waste. So the family gonna get some kind of message, or some kind of way they got a message back then, or Miss Lax got a message, or one of these people got a message, pharmaceutical doctors or whoever, on a Thursday. Follow me? Could have been back then or whenever. Life is about experience, not about waste. So God's saying with this card, life was about experience, not about waste, because they wasted Miss Lax's life back then. They wasted her life. Because God's saying about waste. There's nothing else on this table but Miss Lax's life. Follow me? Would be the waste here. They wasted her life. Life is about life. She had life, but it got wasted. They wasted her life. It's about experience. They didn't have experience. Evidently, they didn't have the experience they needed because they contributed to her dying. Take it like you want to take it. Okay, it says right here, my father is abusive and not having protection from my father. So I don't know how it was with her own father. I don't know how it was. It could be her card. It could be her card. It could be somebody in her family right now card where they going through this with their father. What could be the doctor, anybody who was on connected to this happening to Miss Lax. Follow me? God wanted Miss Lax to go home. Right here with this card. Go home, Miss Lax. Follow me? Okay, and this is jobs. Maybe she was looking for work some kind of way during that time too. Because she had some kind of job right here she was coping with, seemed like. But maybe she need to go look for other kind of jobs. Because life was like a jigsaw puzzle for her right then. In her life. Or maybe her family member is coping with some kind of job. Right now. And God telling whoever you are to go home. And look for work on the computer if it's a family member. Get what I'm saying right now in life? Okay, so we have life is about experience, not about waste. Wait a minute. Alright, because I was hearing noise, but I gotta finish this though. Okay, life is about experience. Okay, so ducking won't help you. So back then, ducking wouldn't help Miss Lax. She had to be herself. But ducking wouldn't help her back then in that situation with dealing with these doctors and all, because it was a mastermind back then with this situation. But ducking wouldn't help her. She couldn't actually get away because it says the first cards. She wanted to go home. I think this the first card, right? One of the cards I told you she wanted to go home. Okay? Or it's happening in somebody's life in her family right now. Ducking won't help you. Whoever you are, you need to be yourself. Family members or whatever. So it says right here the structure of it. She was seeing the structure of it or wanted to know the structure of it back then, or the doctor was looking at the structure of it back then, or somebody in her family as far as getting this inheritance that's owed to Miss Lax. As long as anybody breathing and moving, and they got Miss Lax tacked on to their payroll, the family's supposed to have money flowing in. Okay, it says right here they don't even like me. So this goes with Miss Lax. There's another card for Miss Lax. Because she was a blessing. Get what the card's saying. She was a blessing. Okay? They don't even like me. She was a black woman. Get what I'm saying? African American, if that's what you said. They don't even like me. Get what it's saying? She was a blessing. Follow me? Okay, it says she had to be essential by coping. Okay? Allow life to follow her to the best places in her life or the family. Okay, so it says right here with this last card, here it is, plunging in with a gun. So we have either somebody in Miss Lax's family life right now in the present is dealing with some kind of problem with somebody with a gun problem, plunging in with a gun some kind of way with some situation, or maybe it will happen, anything if it haven't, or back then, some kind of way with this situation, maybe somebody had some kind of gun drawn on Miss Lax as far as this situation. Follow me? Back then, because it was a mastermind. It said right there. This is real life. It's not snowballs and lollipops. You got to remember, back then was racist times. It says a mastermind. Here it is right here. Here's the mastermind that created a shockwave in her life. She had to feel the moisture of what this took from her. Get what it's saying. Here's the cards. Look, tortured her. Follow me. Get what it's saying. It was flimsy. I feel what was flimsy was the hospital equipment, the experience, because God said right here, where that card at? This shows me that they didn't know what the heck they was doing. Look at God. Life is about experience. These people ain't know what they was doing. Flimsy. Get what the card's saying. It was flimsy. Life not about waste. They wasted Miss Lack's life because it was flimsy. From their equipment to their experience, they waste her life. They contributed to her life being gone. She had whatever they said she had, but whatever they did, they made it happen. Because if she was going to leave here, she was going to leave here eventually, whenever. But they made it happen by all the damage they did. Because they definitely did damage. Because God said it was flimsy. They didn't have experience. Life is not a... You see what God's saying? This is real life. Not snowballs and lollipops playing around, researching and playing around with Miss Lax's life. This is real life. God's saying it was flimsy. I'm leaving it with that. Tormented Miss Lax. Tormented Miss Lax. But Miss Lax was a blessing. And we already know she a blessing because her cells is all over the place. People benefiting off of Miss Lax. They don't even like me. Remember, she a black woman, right? And back then, during them times, you claim you don't like black people, right? But you benefiting from her, right? She the blessing. So you see how precious of a jewel a black woman is, a black person in general, right? You'll never forget Miss Lax because Miss Lax probably living in so many of y'all, you don't even know it. Even down to the white racist people out here. Okay, I think that's it, pal. It don't look like it was it. But is that it, universe? Because Miss Lax was a young lady who had lots of life to live. And I feel that you added to it. You added to it and made things worse and fast. You contributed because what all you did by you not having experience and it being flimsy, you killed her. Whoever that doctor was, whoever he was, I don't know who he was. We talking about 1951. I have no idea who it was. I wasn't even born, so I have no idea. But whoever it was, get what I'm saying? Whoever it was contributed, actually made it happen because she had what she had, but she might could have lived a while if that wasn't done to her because it says she was tortured because the experience was flimsy. You wasted her life. Her life got wasted because your experience was flimsy. From the equipment to experience. You didn't know what the heck you was doing. Get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You owe her family the ground you walking on. That's how I look at it. Okay, this is the Brass Love one.